Last night, President Trump threatened to strike Iran's power plants and infrastructure if a deal wasn't made by 8 p.m. And just before that deadline, a ceasefire was announced. After 40 days of war, the U.S., Israel, and Iran agreed to a 2-week truce mediated by Pakistan, with talks set to begin Friday in Islamabad. But this ceasefire is hanging by a thread. Both sides are telling completely different stories about what was actually agreed to. Trump says Iran's 10-point proposal is a workable basis to negotiate. Iran's Supreme National Security Council says the U.S. accepted their framework and called it an enduring defeat for Washington. The demands couldn't be further apart. Iran wants all sanctions lifted, U.S. forces withdrawn from the region, reparations paid, frozen assets returned, and the right to nuclear enrichment preserved. The U.S. wants Iran to hand over its enriched uranium, dismantle its proxy networks, commit to no nuclear weapons, and permanently reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Israel says it supports the ceasefire with Iran, but says Lebanon is not included, directly contradicting Pakistan, who says it is. And even after the ceasefire was announced, Iranian drones hit oil facilities and power stations in Kuwait, and the UAE reported intercepting missiles and drones. Vice President Vance called it a fragile truce. Oil prices crashed as much as 17% overnight on the ceasefire news, but are already climbing back as markets realize how far apart these two sides actually are. So I built a ceasefire wargame simulator in Athena AI Studio to map out the branching outcomes. 3 scenarios: talks succeed and a permanent deal is reached, talks stall and the ceasefire gets extended, or talks collapse on April 22nd and a full-scale war resumes. Each one showing the cascading effects on oil prices, sanctions, troop deployments, and regional alliances across an animated Persian Gulf map with ceasefire violation markers, a countdown timer to April 22nd, and the current status of the Strait of Hormuz. This isn't a prediction, it's a strategic simulation for analysis, and with Islamabad talks starting Friday, it's never been more relevant. Follow for part 2 where I run the scenarios against what actually happens at the negotiating table.